This post is basically going to be an introduction to our recent visit to Africa. As a boy, I sat in awe watching the Nat Geo films of that day. And there was also this show called Wild Kingdom. Some of you older folks might remember that, when Marty and his cohort were out wrestling wild animals and whatever they were doing. But anyway, just always loved the animals, the outdoors, the flora and the fauna. I'm also an avid hunter, but I hunt for meat, not trophies or glory. So while I had considered going to Africa on a hunting safari, it just didn't make any sense to me to go to Africa and kill a bunch of animals. I don't know. I know some people do it, and that's fair, and I'm okay with that, but it just wasn't for me. So we decided to do our shooting with cameras. I searched YouTube for a guide to this sort of trip, but never really found what I was looking for. I did find enough information to kind of figure out a plan for when to go and where to go. And the right time for us seemed to be in mid-February. We actually went early February, got back mid-February, but I did watch a lot of videos in the Gorgo Crater and the Serengeti too, and in the dry season, and everything was dried up. Dry season for a reason, right? In comparison to the wet season, or between the wet seasons, the two major wet seasons, there's a period that's typically pretty dry and everything is green and lush, and that had a lot of appeal for us. It's just so much prettier, and when everything's green and growing. So anyway, also in February, the Serengeti animals are largely in Tanzania. I initially had thought about Kenya and the Maasai area, but in February, the wildebeest, zebras, have migrated to the Serengeti in Tanzania. So we decided on that, Tanzania in February. So then they searched for a booking agent, and a lot of research there, and eventually we settled on a agent at that time called Soul of Tanzania. And we got good responses from them. They had a number of options on their tours, and they had some good references, people that actually got back to us and had good experiences. And one additional thing, which surprisingly not a lot of the tour companies offer, was they would take the deposit and the payment upon arrival in Tanzania with a credit card, which obviously gives another layer of protection. You just never know who's going to scam you, but at least if you're using a major credit card, you have somebody else on your side if something goes wrong. So Soul of Tanzania had a wide range of safari options, and we kind of took one of their standard packages and modified it. So we ended up with a package that included 8 nights, 9 days included in their package. And in addition, for other reasons, we booked another day in the Arusha area before the safari, and an extra night in the Arusha area after the safari. Our thinking was that we're crossing, I think it was 12 time zones, so just wanted a day to acclimate before we started on the actual safari, to settle in a little bit and relax, and that actually worked out really well for us. So the first night in Arusha, first 2 nights actually, as it turned out, we stayed at a place called Planet Lodge. Beautiful grounds there, beautiful flora, very protected, safe, just outside of the city. The people there were outstanding. As you know, every place we stayed, the people were really friendly, and most of them spoke some English. A lot of them spoke pretty good English, so communication was not a problem, particularly with our guides. The guides all spoke good English, and easy to understand, and just good people to boot. We enjoyed all the people we met with this outfit. So when we actually took off on safari, we spent a few hours in the Kangiri National Park and saw our first real wildlife, a variety of things. You'll see it on the videos coming up. Second day we did a game drive. They call it a game drive. You drive around and you spot a lot of animals. Don't really want to get out of the vehicle too much, because there's could be some hungry animals out there that looking for an easy meal. So anyway, you spend most of the time driving in these customized safari vehicles. But anyway, saw a lot of animals, and spent that night at Manyara Wildlife Safari Camp. Very cool. Another tended lodge. You'll see it in the videos, but nice accommodations, great food. All the camps had good food. All of them were tended lodges. We never felt anything was really lacking. And all the necessities were there, including safari beer, but which, by the way, is probably the best beer brewed in Tanzania. From there, we spent 4 nights on the Serengeti itself. 2 nights at Pumzika Tended Camp, and then 2 nights at, see if I can say this right, Mbugani Camp. Mbugani is a camp that they move around to follow the wildlife migrations, and that's in the Nudutu area of Serengeti. And then the last night we were at a place called Rhino Lodge near the Ngorongoro crater, and spent the night there. And the next day we did and the last day on safari, we toured the crater itself, which is pretty damn amazing. And it's actually it's a good way to finish the tour, because if you did it first, you'd be disappointed with some of the rest of it, because in the Ngorongoro there's animals everywhere, and some of the other places, sometimes you have to drive a little while to see the animals. There's no big deal. It's just all beautiful countryside, but that's just the way it is. Well, the last night we actually spent in this place called Venus Premier Hotel in Arusha, and that was really the only disappointment of the trip. Not the hotel itself. It was fine. There was no problems. Again, good people, good food, all that. But Kirsten and Connie both wanted to do some shopping in downtown Arusha. As it turns out, not really a good idea for white tourists. The minute you step out the door, you just get swarmed like flies, people wanting to sell you stuff, and they won't take no for an answer. It's impossible to get rid of them. And in addition to that, beyond that, Edward, our guide, actually, yeah, guide extraordinaire. He was awesome. But anyway, he said it's just not safe downtown, and so we heeded his advice, and we didn't do any shopping. Spent a pleasant night at the hotel there, and next day the tour company, they picked us up and gave us a ride back to the airport at Kilimanjaro, which is, by the way, I didn't mention it, but they picked us up there too. From the airport and back to the airport, they were taking care of us every day, and they really did a great job. So for all this, you ask, how much does all this cost? Well, I kind of got some rough numbers for you here. So we are traveling out of SeaTac Airport in Washington State, in the Seattle area. We're not from Seattle, by the way, not part of that liberal crowd, but anyway, flying out of SeaTac. And after doing a lot of research, we ended up booking our travel with Qatar Airlines, and they are partners with Alaska Airlines. So the way it worked out, we flew SeaTac to JFK Airport in New York, and then Qatar Airlines from JFK to Qatar, and then from Qatar we flew a 787 Dreamliner to Kilimanjaro Airport. So that all the connections worked great, and on the way back it was reverse of that, but with some problems with Alaska Airlines on the way back that really don't want to get into now. But so as far as costs, here's kind of how it worked out for us. You may find something different and better or worse, I don't know, but the whole trip worked out great for us. So for the airfare round trip, SeaTac to Kilimanjaro Airport was about $2,000 for the both of us, Connie and I. The guide fees, like I said, they picked us up at the airport, dropped us off at the airport. I mean, just everything. Once you're there at the airport, you basically show up at the airport and they take care of all the transportation. Our guides were $6,300 for, again, that was, I say, nine nights, 10 days. Tips and miscellaneous expenses, well, including beer, which we drank a lot of beer, about $600. So for the two of us, it was close to $10,000 and $5,000 a piece, which I consider money well spent. So I hope those of you that are thinking about doing this sort of a trip, if you have that kind of cash laying around, if it's on your bucket list, as it was definitely on my bucket list, it was an awesome trip. It exceeded our expectations in every way. So anyway, the next episodes, there'll be a number of episodes. I will show you videos of what we saw, what we did, our combinations, and some of the meals, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching.